Another day, planting season, a season all about timing, doing things at the right time. You have situations where you may feel like it's not the time to take action. You need to plant your seed, gain a skill, read a book, have a conversation, and pray about it. Delayed gratification is the name of the season. You're not seeing results because the roots are too deep, creating a strong foundation. Another day. For years, I was lost, searching for answers to ensure my family was prepared for the future. Another day. Building tools on the journey to leave a legacy. To do this, I must become someone else. I must become something else. T-A-C. It's in the action. Another day. Welcome back to the ATD Chronicles, where I unload insights from the ATD letter that goes out every Friday to help you engineer tools to attack the day. So first, welcome back. This is season 2. I'm super excited about this season. Got a lot of things that are coming out, right? So one of the things that's already out right now is my No Excuse, Just Action Challenge, right? It's a 45-day challenge to transform your life. It's big and it's important for you to have challenges in life, because if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. So the link in the description will be at the bottom. I'll try to do this as quickly as possible. I do want to get the information out. I want to make sure that it's clear, concise, and you can easily understand and digest it. I also have the ATD HQ, which is at a premium rate right now. It will be until my birthday. So if you want to join the community with like-minded men who are building and creating better lives for themselves, go ahead, join the community. The details will be at the bottom, and a brief video will be at the end of this video. So this week's ATD letter was about a concept, an idea that I had a while back, and I finally put it on paper and unloaded it for you all to hear. And basically, it's a concept about being a farmer and an engineer as a man. Being a farmer and an engineer as a man is something that I believe in, just kind of based off of some things I've gone through and some experiences I've had. So I'll start unloading insights about the letter, and hopefully you'll get another perspective, and it'll help you to become a better father, husband, leader of your household as well. Unlocking your potential, the farmer engineer blueprint for life, discovering untapped potential. So what inspired me to kind of create this concept of the farmer engineer, what helped me or what started me on this whole concept of the farmer and the engineer is inherently, just history, time, paying attention to animals, down to our core genetic DNA, foundational habitual characteristics of life. We all work in seasons and patterns, right? And maybe 100 years ago, most men, most people who worked, maybe even 200 years ago, essentially were farmers, worked off the land. And the concept was, you don't work, you don't eat, right? You heard the song, you don't work, you don't eat, you don't grind, you don't shine, right? And so as a farmer, you put a lot of work in, you till the land, you make sure it's ready for the crops, you make sure the soil is correct, you make sure the timing of when you're planting the right seed for the right season, and then you have your harvest, right? And then there's a period of time where you can't work, you can't harvest any crops. There's not much to do in that regard, so you have to do other things, right? And if you pay attention to animals, a squirrel all year will collect nuts. So in the winter season, he can rest, right? So when you take those concepts and you think about, okay, so we're all, I feel, on a creation level, doing the same thing. I mean, we have more distractions than the animals. We have more distractions than maybe people who are less fortunate, right? Because you have technology, you have all these bells and whistles, and you have all these things. And so the farmer engineer concept was a way for me to kind of put everything, pay attention to the patterns. I did a lot of research on astrology, numerology, the seasons changing, cycles, patterns, sleep patterns. All of that information was for me to just understand the cycles of life and the patterns that we all kind of don't pay attention to. And I did that to kind of help me to get a better understanding, because I was all over the place. I had multi-passions, businesses that I wanted to do or jobs that I was interested in. And, you have the shiny object syndrome, and you try to pay attention to why are all these things kind of popping up all over the place. And some people might, oh, you had ADHD, or you had this, or you had that. And I don't believe that. I believe what it was a matter of, it was an influx of ideas, an influx of creativity, an influx of passion that I wanted to go after. And I believe that God has given us all an extreme amount of talent and gifts. And so you have to dive deep into that to not squander those talents and gifts, right? And that's what I want to do. I want to go after everything that's already inside of me and pour it out to the world, because that's what God told me to do. But with that comes a lot of challenges. And one of those challenges is like the challenge of wanting to be a masculine man. So after I got out of the military, I battled with PTSD, and I still do to this day, right? And you deal with a situation the best way you know how. And the best way I knew how back in the day was to avoid it, was to avoid the situation, stay strong as what I thought I was doing. Stay strong, stay confident, stay focused, and make sure that I don't let anything bother me, and I stay on the mission, right? The mission is making sure I provide for my family, make sure I do everything I'm supposed to do, right? Do everything that I felt I needed to do, but neglect ultimately my feelings, my emotions, and what I knew I was battling and dealing with. So I had to face those demons. I had to face all of the things I had been through to kind of get to a place of peace, right? And that took a lot of work. And I had to redefine what masculinity was for me, right? Because I didn't want to be crying all the time. I didn't want to be so emotional that I didn't know how to handle my emotions. I wanted to be strong and nurturing. So I had to do a lot of self-defeating behavior, beliefs, practices. I had to go through a lot of imagery. I had to do a lot of praying, right? I had to do a lot of talking to God, right? I had to do a lot of work to get me to a place of peace. So I prayed, I read, I meditated, and I journaled. And I still do that to this day. Prayer, most important, because I was able to get a connection with God. You know what I mean? Reading, I was able to fill my cup up with the knowledge and the information that I needed to attack and attain and reach and defeat the self-defeating beliefs, the behaviors, everything that was coming my way, right? My distractions, everything. I had to meditate on all of that, right? I had to meditate on all those concepts of what I was bringing in and focus on what I wanted my intentions to be. And then I had to journal. For me, I had to journal and write everything out to get those thoughts out on paper, right? And so with that conscious thought and that understanding, this is what birthed everything I'm doing. The ATD Chronicles, the ATD Letter, the Unloads, my community, everything that I decided to sit down and stop running from and start going after what was in my mind and putting it on paper, right? And of course I exercise, right? Those all were things I needed to do. And it was all things that I had set out to do a long time ago, with the kind of understanding my pillars of life, right? God being first, family, and then lifting others up through all of my things I just expressed to you that I had, all these passions I had in my head that I wanted to do, right? And that was my gift to the world, because you can't give from an empty cup. So I had to fill my cup with my praying, reading, journaling, meditating every day. So I can give all that back out to the world. And the only way you can do all those things is by having a vision, right? And so I had another video that I did in a letter, and I'll put that in the link, the description, so you can go ahead and follow that as well. And it talks about how you can craft your vision in all the chaos, right? And I think that's something good that'll help you out a lot. That'll give you the best practices or whatever, broken down to really kind of get you to hopefully the level that I'm at, or even a higher level of peace. So when I decided to come up with the framework for the farmer engineer and everything that I was working on, you have levels and seasons of success. In those seasons of success, I had a lot of seasons that I was not successful, and how I was able to get to a level of success was by simply paying attention to the patterns that I was dealing with in my life. So I have multiple skill sets. I was a barber for a long period of time, and I still practice that skill set from time to time with my sons, and various people that I still cut, like children that grew up with me while I was cutting their hair. I still cut them, and a few other people that are older that can't really get to the barbershop. And as they pass away, I no longer cut them. And I feel like once those people pass away, and once those kids probably go off and move away, actually go to college, like the other ones I have, I probably won't be cutting anymore at all. That is like a season of my life that'll be completely over with. But who knows what God has in store for me. But I just know right now that's not a main practice. But when I was heavy into barbering, right, personal training, business consulting, I have an ATD consulting firm that I help other businesses craft and put better systems in place for their business. With those 4 different businesses, right? And those were actually businesses for me because I had one like assistant and I had a bunch of systems. So I was more or less, I don't like to use the word business per se, because I understand that business, either you have systems and it's working whether you're working or not. So I guess it was more self-employed, right? With systems in place that allow me somewhat to not have to work all the time, and kind of kept some of the money rolling in. But if I didn't work, I didn't eat, right? I'm in a place now where things are better and I have more passive income, right? But it took years of putting that work in place to make this happen. So now I'm in a place where now, like, I'm doing the HD community. I'm really focused on building everything that is initially my LLC, right? That is the company that houses all of my consulting firm, all my other little small businesses. It's all up under there, because the consulting firm is really the business that I do, because I consult other men, other thought leaders, other businesses, and help them create systems to engineer better tools for their organization, right? And I know I said a lot of stuff to tongue tie, but I have to tie it all in, because there was a period of time where I didn't have all that in place. And I was trying to do all of that, and it was nothing but chaos in my life, right? And I had to pay attention to, because I just maybe like 6 months ago started doing, and that'll be another video, I just started really doing a personal budget to understand how to run my personal life. I was so focused on business for the longest that business ran fine. But with business, you have patterns, you have cycles and all of that. And I started noticing the patterns and cycles of business. And it allowed me to anticipate when things were going to happen, anticipate when to market right, anticipate when to move correctly, and know when to, okay, I can pull back from maybe this business or this self-employment, barbering, and move over to personal training. And then when this season is over, I can move over to real estate. And when this season is over, I can move over to the consulting. And consulting is what I mainly do now, because all of those other professions that I've done over the years, now I have a way to help barbers, realtors, personal trainers, right? That's kind of my niche, my understanding of all those businesses. Now there's other businesses that I've helped as well, but those are my main 3 that I can help at all times. You know what I mean? But I also have insights to give perspectives and other things, because all of those businesses may be slightly intertwined in other things, So it's just understanding how I was able to become and get a season of success from all of that. So you have to create and navigate your own plan for growth. And the best way that I came up with was with my farmer engineer concept. By adopting this mindset, it allowed me to alleviate a lot of stress in my life, because I was able to stay focused and determined on reaching the standards that I had set, because I knew like what to do in what season. Squirrels and animals all season will store and stock up food for the winter. And essentially, as you build your business and do various things, you have to store and save money. You have to invest properly. There's a period of time in the stock market called quad witching week, where there's a time in the market where you should not be in the market. Right. And we start understanding that each business, each system has its own time to not be in the market, to kind of fall back. You understand how to move and work accordingly. You know what I mean? I chose to pivot and shift to other things because I'm multi-passionate. But businesses have been doing it for years, where when the seasons change or things happen, what do? They implement certain holidays to boost sales. Right. They implement Thanksgiving at a certain time of the year, because that's when usually businesses need to get back in the black before the quarter ends, right? For the fiscal year and various things like that. Christmas is a good time to invest in retail, because Everybody's shopping. You know what I mean? Now, certain things, like I said, retail, it wouldn't be the best time to invest in tech. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to give any advice on that. I'm just saying in these patterns and these recognitions that I'm even talking about, they change and they fluctuate because the world changes and fluctuates. So when you understand these patterns, it allows you to move properly and to move effectively and efficiently. And so that's one of the things that I do with all the pattern recognition. And that's how I was able to craft like the farmer engineer concept to understand how to move in a way for if you're a multi-passionate or multidisciplinary person. So in particular, a conversation a couple of weeks ago, and after the conversation, one of the people I talked to, they had a great insight on what I gave them. And that's it right here. And what I gave them. So read over it, check it out, whatever. Go follow him. He's a great guy. He gives you great insight, and he might give you a different perspective on a lot of different things. Another multi-passionate person who's learned how to articulate and move throughout the seasons. By focusing on and managing your seasons and what you can do and what you can attain, you can avoid a lot of challenges. But remember, challenges help you to change. And one of the things that No Excuse Just Action Challenge does is it transforms your life in 45 days. So make sure you check it out. So how you can apply the farmer engineer mindset to completely change the trajectory of your life. If you want the exact steps, they're in the newsletter, but I'll tell you how it changed my life and what it did for me. So as you can imagine, chasing, and again, if you were in last season, we know chasing is not good. We don't chase anything. Everything comes to us easily and freely, right? But if you are chasing things, it's harder to catch them, right? So the moving with this system, using this system allows for things to come to you, right? Because you essentially plant the seed and then you harvest it, right? And if you have any kind of skill set, whether it's personal training, real estate, marketing, consulting, any of those or anything that I didn't even mention, you have to understand your business. You have to understand what you're doing. You have to understand that there are different seasons. In those different seasons, things change, right? And nothing is permanent. Everything is temporary and it flows and operates in a cycle. So what I recognize by me working through that system and coming up with that farmer engineer concept, farmangier, think of a better name, farmangier. I wrote a whole definition for it, but it just doesn't roll off the tongue. But anyway, back on subject, my bad. With everything I had to do was going through the farmer engineer concept, redefining my masculinity, learning how to be strong and nurturing, learning how to operate my business accordingly, all the things I had to do. The biggest thing that this helped me overcome, helped me to be better at was be a better father and a better husband. Two most important things I feel for any family man, right? Because it allowed me to be present, it allowed me to be in the moment. Because if I know what I'm doing in each season, or what I should be doing, or how to pay attention to the patterns and when to move and when to operate effectively and efficiently, then I can wholeheartedly be the best father, the best husband, the best leader. But at one point I was always like in my phone or always on a computer, on a laptop, working, so-called work. I was all over the place. I had no structure or anything. Like I was making money, but I had no structure, right? So if I had no structure, if you have no structure, if you have no foundation, then you have no system, you have no building, you have nothing to stand on, right? So every time something changed, it was just collapsing. Everything was collapsing around me with my family, with my wife. We have periods of time where we're happy, everything's good, and then it all goes to crap. And I'm trying to figure out why. And it's because you have no system, you have no foundational principles, you have no priorities, you have nothing in place to make a strong foundation. So having the farmer engineer concept allowed me to have a strong foundation on everything that I was working on, right? Being able to recognize the patterns of my life and understand what was going on allowed me to face life's challenges that come your way no matter what. And this farmer engineer concept isn't perfect. It's not perfect. There's holes in it, and I constantly craft it and perfect it and keep working on it. And that's the beauty of life and iteration over time. But that's one of the things I help other men like myself figure out so you can be the best version of yourself in my ATD HQ community. That's one of the things that the No Excuse, Just Action challenge helps you to do, is to transform your life and put those things and put perspective on a lot of the principles that you have in life. And like I told y'all before, if you looked at any of my other content, that's what my mission is. My mission is to empower and increase the concepts of a traditional man, but with a twist and a new modern perspective, my point of view, to help you to get to the next level, right? So we know that there's tons of distractions around, and this framework definitely helps you with all of that. Make sure that you take an opportunity to read this week's letter. It definitely has a lot of the actionable steps. Again, I'm doing my best to make this clear and concise, and I'm just giving you a visual representation, an audio representation of what the letter is putting out, so you can go ahead and craft your own blueprint, so you can go ahead and start using the concepts and apply them to your life. Remember, the road ahead is long and hard. No place for the weak. You must be a warrior. Attack the day.